Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
All right, it is 11:08 on a game day. Oilers and Jets tonight. It is The Lock Shop presented to you by our great partners over at Coolbet. If you're not yet signed up for an account, now might be the time. Hockey season, 'tis be upon us. Use the code LOCKSHOP when you sign up. You get a 100% deposit bonus on your initial deposit up to $200. Huss, there he is. What's the vibe like in the peg today, buddy?
Oh, ready to take a shot at the Western Conference champs tonight down at Rexall. Let's drop the puck and let's get going.
It's on.
I'm already seeing the chat going on. Matt Hyman, hashtag Team Hustler, but I do support hashtag Team Dusty. Yeah, everyone's got a piece of this one tonight. We've got dueling EST and WST parlays, depending on what side you're on tonight. But you know what, Dusty, before we Winnipeggers and Edmontonians go head to head tonight,
we must
let
come
us
together.
all as lock shoppers come together and celebrate another awesome night. The 4-gamer came through that we were betting on the show. We were a little conservative and went with the 3-gamer. That one came through at just about 5-1. And I mean, I got to give props out to the DGen Den. Were it not for missing by one total base of Ohtani, we had that one was like 19-1 last night. We are running on all cylinders right now. This is exactly what I had hoped for to get into NFL season. And traditionally, now that we've been doing this show for whatever it is, 3 or 4 years, if you look at my account and our success, the beginning of September starts a steady climb, and now we got the pucks going. Now we got the pucks. We're 1-0 on NHL bets this year. Our parlay came through. I mean,
my lock shop play of the day hit. Dylan Gunther with a point, scores the goal 5 minutes in. Like it was one of those nights to start the hockey season, Huss. It really was. It was terrific. It was fun too. I mean, it looked like they were having a lot of fun there in Utah yesterday, which I imagine that they were. Coyotes. What are we going to call them now? The Coyotes. Well, I think they're going to eventually become the Yetis, but Utah Hockey. What are you, UHC?
I think the Yeti is going to be. I think they should go for like Outlaws or something.
You know what? I didn't mind the Outlaws one with like the old Western guy and the mustache. Yeah. I had some time, like when they put out their original list. Now I didn't mind Yetis, but I thought Outlaws would be pretty damn cool, man. The Utah Outlaws, and just maybe they come out of nowhere with something like that. But I love the logo for the Outlaws, and I've been through a lot of logo picking lately with U11 and U9 kids playing hockey and coaching teams. It's all about first you got to pick a name, then you got to pick a logo. We ended up coming up this year. Marshall's U11 team are the White Mud West Wolverines, and Elizabeth's U9 team are the White Mud West Ice Assassins. Yeah,
you pick your own name and logo. Like, don't these community clubs have logos already? I mean,
they have like the White Mud West logo, but for like merch and stuff, like hoodies and stuff. Throw the team logo on there. So I guess I don't know what we're doing for the Ice Assassins logo, but it's a thing. Like our U11 coach Scott, he I don't know which AI program he's using, man, but he designed because it was down to like Wolverines, Beasts, Wildcat, like a bunch of, and like all the logos were just sick. I was like, how are you getting these? He goes, AI. I just go on AI, and I'm like, I need a hockey logo for, and it worked out really well. So. Yeah, I mean, it can't be hard to come up with something awesome. But yeah, the Outlaws one, I remember when I first saw the name and I first saw some of the logos, I was just like, man, the Outlaws look pretty sick. That would be pretty cool, but whatever.
I mean, Colorado already has their Yeti logo, like with the Bigfoot on it.
Fair point.
Remus is always talking about that. I love the Yeti logo. They can't take that.
I love Remus having a major issue with the Yeti logo infringement. Just be on brand. Just always be on brand, man. Like, I think that's absolutely terrific. So 3 games last night, Huss. Anything you take away from the 3 games? Pretty good read on the Boston-Florida game from yourself.
I mean, listen, I kind of thought that the Bruins would have a tough time keeping the puck out of their net, which they did. Swain will be back, and I'm sure that will improve when he gets his feet under him. I did not watch a second of the St. Louis-Seattle game because, as you know, I'm a baseball guy right now.
You are.
Not a baseball guy all regular season. We are so locked in with these picks right now. And Dusty, the teams that we sort of saddled up with before the playoffs started have been coming through for us big time. The Mets do it again yesterday. The Padres get it done. I know I was sort of on an island with Kansas City, but they have looked great so far. They've got their top pitcher well rested on the bump tonight, and Aaron Judge is once again coming up small in October. I'm fired up about these games today. And this is today, like, what an amazing day. We've got the Guardians and Tigers starting in less than 2 hours. And I'm just going to use Winnipeg time. So 2:08, 1 o'clock in Edmonton, Guardians, Tigers. The Phillies, Mets going just after 4. The Yankees and Royals just after 6. And the Padres and Dodgers just after 8. Every 2 hours, another game starts. And that's going to be good because we got to wait here in the Peg until 9 p.m. tonight. Probably even later after they introduce the players and do everything that comes along with a home opener for this one tonight. So it is a glorious, glorious sports day. And we've also got another 5 games from the National Hockey League to get into as well. So no shortage of things to pick today and games to put together for some Lock Shop specials.
I smell multiple parlays today coming from the Lock Shop. I mean, that's just going to happen. I saw, let's see, I just want to get over to the Nasty Chat for a second. If you're over there, hammer the thumbs up for us, like the show. Like we said, our only path probably, if making money for people, for Nasties, is not enough to get in the mix for show of the year, our only path is for a very high likes to views ratio. So hammer the thumbs up if you're supporting the Lock Shop in our push towards an SD for show of the year. MBHA, that'd be the Manitoba Ball Hockey Association, I do believe, says, right. Hey guys, does anyone know if Tommy Gazzola does play-by-play for the Manitoba Ball Hockey? He says, I could have swore I heard him do ball hockey play-by. No, so here's the thing. There's not very many things I'm like 100% certain about in life, but I can be 100% certain Tom Gazzola does not do ball hockey play-by-play. And the reason I know this is that his brother plays ball hockey, and Tommy is like very anti-ball hockey. He thinks it's for people who can't play regular hockey. And it got to the point where he was trash-talking ball hockey so much on the hangout that him and his brother didn't talk for like a month. Their parents had to be like, grow up and start talking again. So I guarantee Tommy does not do ball hockey play-by-play. Guaranteed. I take that to the bank. Minus $1 million. Feud? Yeah, Family Feud over ball hockey.
Had to step in. Had to step in and play.
She had to do the voice like Tommy. I can't even do Tommy's mom's voice, Tommy Dan. But they had to step in and be like, guys, you got to grow up here. You're in your 30s, both of you. Like, it's ball hockey. Like, let's relax. So, but I used to play ball hockey. I loved ball hockey. I played ball hockey all through my 20s growing up. Just loved it. Won a provincial tier 2 championship one time. No big deal.
That's good. That's good. My brother was a really good hockey player. He played in Europe for a few years and then came back, and for a big defenseman, had some pretty silky mitts, and he played ball hockey. They went to I think they lost in the national championship final. I guess like for ball hockey, once you get to be 35, I think, or maybe 40, there's like a masters tournament or something like that. And I know we hosted it. MBHA will be able to tell us. I believe that we had that here in Winnipeg a few years ago. I know we played in it, but yeah, I know ball hockey's awesome. Who doesn't like ball hockey?
I don't know anybody who's ever been anti-ball hockey. It doesn't.
This is another terrible take from Tom. I mean, geez. Worst take of the year? Is there an Esty for that?
Actually, there isn't an Esty for that, but there should be. Let me write that down.
Mark that down.
Hey, somebody tell Maddie, Esty for worst take of the year. Put it on the list. I'll put it on the list right now. I'll put it on the list. Huss, that's a great idea. Yeah. No, I think that's okay. Perfect. All right. Excellent. Worst take of the year. There'll be a lot of those.
Well, listen, there'll be plenty of competition for it. Who knows? I'll have my own contributions in that category. But considering I came up with the idea for it, hopefully I'm not eligible to win.
You're presenting. You're coming out and presenting. Yeah, you got to present, buddy.
Presenting it.
You're presenting. Sure. Like worst take of the year is presented by Huss, guaranteed. I think that'd be perfect.
I am a little. I'm definitely having FOMO. I mean, I got out there for the Jets-Oilers game last year, right near the start of the season. You'll all remember that fondly, I'm sure, for some of you. Oilers up 2-0 in the first 3 minutes, and the Jets battling back. I think it was Josh Morrissey in overtime, if I'm not mistaken.
Things work out for Huss again.
Well, I listen. That was the best. Special shout out to a good friend of yours in EST, Damon Bunting.
What a beauty.
As well as my pals Elmo and Bruce and Suits and all my old pals from the Oiler office back in the day. We had such a great time there. I do think now that I recall, I think the Jets are back out in your neck of the woods yes, here we are, March 20th, a Thursday night game. That I will plan to get together. Maybe I'll come out on Wednesday night and do WST from EST for a couple days. We can do the lock shop together, go to the game.
A dream come true.
And then come back on the Saturday in time to be in the building for the Jets hosting the Buffalo Sabres on Sunday afternoon the next day. We can't get too far into the schedule. We're focusing in on tonight. And listen, you know what? Before we get into our favorite plays for the NHL, for Major League Baseball today, let's get into this game tonight. Let me ask you, I mean, I've got to get to the Jets side of things. And by the way, I will be making my debut on the Reed Wilkins show later. I
heard about this. A glue guy walks in today. He goes, Huss is on our show this afternoon. I was like, oh boy, this is great. So yeah, watch for that. It'll be on the Reed Wilkins show this afternoon. And they'll be getting you ready big time, taking you through the afternoon and the GCL Diesel pregame show with Tommy Gazzola, where they will not be talking ball hockey, 7:00 tonight.
And Hernan.
And Hernan. Mostly I like to promote Hernan on the post-game show, As somebody said, guys, the one thing we can bet on is that one fan base will be losing it tonight, one way or the other, no matter what happens in the first game of the year.
Matt Hyman, I thought, had the best one. He said that one thing I will predict tonight, both fan bases will overreact, win or lose. Take that one to the bank. That's a minus 10,000.
Yeah, favorite. It's not even worth a sprinkle. There's nothing there that get behind.
But listen, I mean, I saw McDavid stick it to Spec yesterday, saying like, let's get over it. It's not about last year. We got to move on. This is a pretty different team than we saw last year. I mean,
it is.
I had a great conversation, and I know Craig Button was on with you. What was it, yesterday?
Oh man, he was fire yesterday.
Jeff Skinner.
Oh yeah.
He was not complimentary of Jeff Skinner's preseason. I will just tell you that.
He was not.
And the funny thing is, for Skinner, if he actually wants to finally play in a playoff game, like I'm pretty sure the Oilers are going to be in the playoffs this year. Jeff Skinner's got to be able to carry his weight and be a guy that will be in on that playoff squad. Even though he's getting a nice start. Now, is he going to start with Draisaitl tonight? Is that
he is? It's they did an optional skate this morning. Looks like Travis Dermott will be in with Brett Kulak. Got his contract yesterday. So Stetcher will be the number 7 tonight. We'll get into all of this. Tommy Gazzola is down at the rink today, so he will join us coming up at noon on the Oil Stream. So if you're an EST, or make sure you stick around and be ready for that. We'll continue. I shouldn't say start talking about it all day, but I'll continue to get you ready for this game tonight. Skinner spent the entire preseason essentially locked in on Draisaitl's left wing. And then 2 practices ago, they moved him down to the third line and bumped Matthias Janmark up just for 1 practice. And I know some people are like, Bo Knobloch said after that practice, just to kind of get a different look at things. But I was talking about with Matt Cassidy and Gager yesterday on 2 guys and a goalie. And I was like, how much of a different look can you get at somebody in 1 practice? Like, that's tough to do. So then we're like, so he's trying to send a message to Skinner. And I also thought, well, why can't you just go to him as a coach and be like, hey, dude, crank it up a notch here. We know it's a preseason. You're trying to wrap it up. We'd like to see a little bit more from you. So he was back on the Draisaitl line yesterday. He'll start there tonight. We've got the already early Edmonton redemption story for Skinner getting a point tonight in our parlay. It's just like what's that off of what's the Paul Kariya call? Off of the mat onto the scoreboard or something like that. That's gonna be Skinner tonight. So it's like plus 150 for a point. So we threw it in our parlay. He should and Button brought this up. It was funny yesterday with Button. The reason he got so fired up, I was like, how much patience do you need to have? And he's like, patience? It's like a practice rant from AI. He's like, patience? The guy's played in the league for 10 years. Like, you don't need. So it was great. We've had Button on our show for years now. That was probably the most fired up we've ever seen him. It was terrific.
He's the best.
The Bettino Heat. He's the best.
Favorite. And you know what? I will say this as a credit to Craig. I mean, obviously, we've got a lot of great regular guests that we come on. Craig is like of the big kind of quote unquote, the big network guys.
Yeah.
Craig is genuinely the nicest, most supportive guy for myself, yourself, for what we're doing here in this new space. Is generally the nicest and the most supportive. I mean, there's some guys, I won't name names, that if you talk to them off air, the interactions are a little different than what you might get on air. Not Craig. He is genuinely the best. And
is he on your show today? He's on today?
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah. He'll be on today. Yeah, we caught up. We did it this morning because he's a very busy guy. But we will have that. And it's a great conversation. I mean, we'll get his mostly focusing on the Jets and his thoughts on the upcoming season and the roster. But we do talk a lot about the Oilers, and he made the point that this blue line is significantly different than the one that we saw, in June. Now, I'm of the opinion, and I think the big reason why, and I know you guys would have talked about this ad nauseum, the reason why they did not match the crazy deals to the 2 guys that went to St. Louis is because they're going to need to have the cap flexibility to add later on this season. I do wonder at what point, can they get through the first 3-4 months of the season with the blue line that they have? Or does Stan Bowman get forced into acting earlier or not? Obviously, we haven't even played a game yet. No one knows how it's going to turn out, but there will be quite a bit of a spotlight on the blue line because I think everyone knows that, 1 to 12, their forward group is, while old.
It is old.
It's very old. In game number 1 of the season, as capable as any right now. But
the blue line, it's interesting, buddy. Like, so you bring up the blue line. Imagine being us this morning, coming in here and seeing people texting in and being like, "Hey, Broberg played 20 minutes last night, had a goal for the St. Louis Blues, and Dylan Holloway was on their top line left wing and set up the goal, had a point, played 16 minutes." I was like, guess you got to manage the cap a little bit better moving forward. But I mean, Broberg, they'd been grooming for years to eventually slide into the top 4. That's where he would have been. He would have been on the right side, I think, with Darnell Nurse. Instead, Ty Emberson. Now, Broberg only had played 80 games over a stretch of years, but he seemed like he popped. That's a word people love to use around here. He popped in the playoffs. Broberg's popping. It seemed like he popped a little bit in the playoffs last year, and you're like, okay, it's finally arrived. Pencil him into the top 4. So, you got your top pair back. You never have to worry about Ekholm and Bouchard. Darnell Nurse, like the entire ability of the Edmonton Oilers to win a Stanley Cup might come down to Darnell Nurse this year, depending on who else they add on the right side. Because if Darnell Nurse has a great year, the Oilers are going to be an absolutely amazing hockey team. But if Darnell Nurse struggles and the guy who's starting next to him has only played 30 games in the National Hockey League, it's completely ridiculous to think, Ty Emberson, who none of us had heard of before they traded him for Cody Ceci for him.
Couldn't pick him out of a police lineup.
Like if that guy is sitting there and cannot help Nurse, and Nurse is struggling, you all of a sudden don't have a legitimate second pairing. And that's a concern for a team that is not only Stanley Cup contenders this year, but is in a Stanley Cup window right now. So they will accrue the cap space. They will acquire a defenseman at some point in the season. It really just comes down to, if they start poorly again or averagely, I wonder if they try to pull the trigger on something once teams decide, okay, you know what? This isn't our year. We got a guy that will be able to milk something of significance from, and they overpay for somebody. So it's a really interesting conversation on if this team better than last year's team. And the team that was playing the Stanley Cup final last year, no, I don't think they are. I don't even think you can remotely make the case for that. Are they better than the team that started last season? Maybe, but they are older. Like, they are the oldest team in the National Hockey League. The fact that you only have one forward in this team that's younger than Connor McDavid, who's in year 10, I think has to be a little concerning. Because, and it's not that, you want veteran guys, you want these types of guys in the playoffs, but it's older guys staying healthy. And you have to hope that continues for this team. So, so we made our predictions yesterday, and I was talking about this morning on our shows too, but we made our predictions yesterday, and somebody pointed out that, like, the day after Game 7 last year, I was like, mark it down right now. I'm predicting the Edmonton Oilers are going to win the Stanley Cup next year. So I was like, okay, I'm locked in. I'm not going to bail on my heated rant after they lost Game 7. But I feel a little bit less confident in it now, even though, like, they're the betting favorite. So many of the Button came on the show and picked them. Many of the experts on TSN on their preview show picked them. Like, everybody seems to be picking them. But that was a long run last year. You changed a significant amount of your team. You were very healthy last year on the back end. I'm not sure if that'll continue again. And, I don't know, man. I don't know if they should be the Stanley Cup favorite, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, listen, when you get that close and you re-sign Draisaitl and McDavid's still there, and listen, they added some really talented players to it. Like, just know that this team, this would be a fun exercise, Dusty. Grab the game sheet or screen cap the lineup for tonight's game.
And
compare it to what this team looks like the day after the trade deadline or Game 1 of the playoffs. Some players will be injured and won't be around. Some players will be added in via trade. Like, I think it's going to look significantly different. But the bottom line is, what's not going to look different is 97 and 29 and some of the great supporting cast that this team does have. One thing that you are going to have to deal with tonight, though, is Mr. Opening Night, Kyle Connor.
Is he Mr. Opening Night?
Yeah, he's going for an NHL record, scoring in 7 straight opening games of the season. He's scored in the last 6. And if he does it tonight, he'll be the sole owner. He'll be the only player in NHL history to score in 7 consecutive opening games of the season. So I tell you what, I'm in on Kyle Connor tonight. I know Cowboy mentioned that his number is, well, you know what? I may as well just put it up. I think he said it was plus 164. Player goals right here. Plus 154. But a perfect segue into the Winnipeg Sports Talk parlay tonight. If you're on our side of the fence, Kyle Connor to score, Josh Morrissey to record a point, and the Winnipeg Jets to win and spoil the party in Edmonton. Plus 585.
Plus 585. The Edmonton Sports Talk parlay. Plus 675 because we're bolder here out west. Oilers to win. Evan Bouchard with an assist. Jeff Skinner, the ultimate opening night redemption story with a point. And Victor Arvidsson, 3+ shots. That's over 2.5 shots for Victor Arvidsson. That Arvidsson one was actually the first one we threw on the board. I mean, he's playing with Leon Draisaitl. He's tenacious on the puck. I think there's going to be at least a 3-shot game there for Arvidsson. So that's plus 675 if you want to ride. But Huss, what about for this game? a mutual parlay where we don't put the wins on the list and we just pick some player props and EST and WST can keep this hot streak together. You know, I think that would be a nice little bonus here as well.
I love it as well. Let's see. Let's go to player points. Now, see, it's funny. We got Velarde minus 114. I do not mind Gabe.
I like that for sure.
So let's go with a Gabe Velarde point. And also from the Jets. I mean, the Mark Scheifele is minus 177. I do like picking guys that are somewhat linked to each other, or at least, you know what? Well, how about Morrissey and Velarde from the Jets side of things? Minus 134 and minus 114.
All right. And then let's go from the Oilers side. Minus 233 is pretty juicy, but Evan Bouchard point, not just assist. So let's go Evan Bouchard point and a Victor Arvidsson point. That's minus 138. That's like the next most reasonable number you can get. Everybody else is so juicy. So who'd you say? Velarde and Morrissey?
Velarde and Morrissey, Bouchard and Arvidsson. Plus 708. Plus 708.
We come together for plus 708.
Let's do that.
All right. You know what? That sounds real nice. Sounds real nice for both communities.
Jake. He's probably watching.
He's watching. I see him in the chat right there.
Okay, perfect.
George Conlon says, guys, I'll be betting both the EST and the WST. But now we've got, what do we call this one? Something, come a cool name for it. Like,
the Lock Shop Mediation Parlay.
The Mediation Parlay. What do you know? What's the word like when? Oh, in harmony. In harmony. What about it? Like the EST WST Harmony Parlay.
The Kumbaya.
Yeah, the Kumbaya. Maybe that's it. Jake, you decide. Come up with a funny name. Put it up there. That'd be fun. What about the rest of the league tonight, buddy? What else do we got here? Habs, Leafs, Rangers, Penguins. Games. Let me get you some goalies. I'll get you some starting goalies here.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Let's run through the goalies.
Here we go. Here's your starting goalies tonight. Anthony Stolarz starting from the Maple Leafs. The Habs are starting for Samuel Montembeault. So we're well beyond the Freddie Anderson, Carey Price days. Tristan Jarry for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Shesterkin is likely for the Rangers. Unconfirmed at this point, Georgiev and Aiden Hill in that Colorado Vegas tonight. Excellent game. And then Calgary and the Canucks, Daniel Vladar, likely going up against Shilovs at this point. What else do you like on that board, buddy?
I'll tell you what, I love the fact that the Avalanche Knights game is just a straight up pick 'em. I mean, I mean, we won't be watching that game because we're going to be locked in on our games. They're just kind of pulling up. How's the Avalanche looking right off the bat? McKinnon, Rantanen, and Drouin. Middle stat with Kovalenko, the rookie.
Yeah.
By the way, he's wearing number 51, the same as Andrei Kovalenko. That's going to people are not going to realize that this guy's a rookie. They're going to think that 38-year-old Andrei Kovalenko or 40-year-old Andrei Kovalenko is back. Callum Ritchie, who I'm not familiar with. Then Ross Colton, Logan O'Connor, Miles Wood. Those guys were a pain in the ass in the playoffs. And then Parker Kelly, Joel Kiviranta, and how's this? Ivan,
yeah.
Same first and last name?
I want that jersey.
Does he go with both or does he just go with Ivan?
I mean, I'm not 100% sure. So just quick. So Kovalenko is Kovalenko's kid.
Oh, okay, well, that makes sense.
Just to confirm. That's why I had to look it up. I'm like, there's no way another Kovalenko's just wearing 51 just because. So he is his kid, and his dad did play for the Colorado Avalanche.
And wore 51.
Yeah. And then came over in the He came over in the Patrick Waugh trade. Kovalenko's 54. This kid's 24. So we had him when he was 30.
Oh, my God. You want to talk about feeling old right now?
Yeah.
I would have said Kovalenko's probably 40. So, obviously not.
Slightly off. Yeah, Kovalenko, Marty Ruzinski, and Jocelyn Thibault for Patrick Waugh and Mike Keane. That was
he was in the Waugh trade.
He was in the Waugh trade. Yeah. I remember that because it like changed my life forever. I grew up a huge Habs fan, and Patrick Waugh was like the reason. And I remember the day in junior high school, one of the kids who went home for lunch came back to school and was like, "Hey, Dusty, the Habs traded Patrick Waugh after that Detroit game." I'm like, "No, they didn't." And he's like, "Yeah, to Colorado for Jocelyn Thibault and Ruzinski and Kovalenko." I started crying. I was like in grade 9. I started bawling. I was like, "You've got to be like it ruined." That ruined like my whole grade 9. That was the worst day ever. Just ridiculous. Whatever. I'm still pissed about it, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Let's move on. Focus on the games tonight.
Legendary moment in Habs history as well. Here's just to wrap up this thing, because I think this is definitely the most interesting game, certainly from a betting perspective. Golden Knights at home. I mean, Hill, Georgiev, I don't think there's a huge advantage in net. Eichel, Stone, and Barbashev, great top line. Hurdle with Holtz and Dorofeyev. Nicholas Roy with Brendan Brisson and Victor Olofsson. And then Brett Howden, Kolasar, Tanner Pearson. Strong blue line. Vegas is at home. You know what? I think I'm going Vegas in this opening night tonight. I mean, we don't have much to go on other than who they're throwing out right now. You know that the Fortress will be rocking for the Golden Knights home opener. And as long as Colorado does not have Nichushkin, I think that they are...
Well, and they're missing Lehkonen, too. Like that forward group. We brought it up yesterday when we were looking at the West on two guys on the Nielsen show or something yesterday. No Lehkonen, no Nichushkin. They're hoping to have Landeskog still back at some point. Like that, when you talk about a screen cap of the roster now, and then like that one's going to change significantly as well. So I like what you're thinking on Vegas tonight. What do you think of the Rangers tonight? -143 favorites on the road against the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's more of a, where are you at on the Penguins heading into this season, Huss?
Well, I mean, I think that they've got a lot of work to do. I mean, I'm a huge Sid guy. I think he can put a team on his back, but man, he just didn't have the help last year. We saw our old pal Rutger McGroarty made the team. He's going to make his NHL debut tonight against the New York Rangers. I do like picking home teams often,
the openers,
with the exception of the game in Edmonton tonight. I do like picking home teams. It seems like there's always a real buzz and teams sort of come out and play well. I don't think that's enough to get me to back the Canadians against the Toronto Maple Leafs. But I don't mind the over in that game.
In the Toronto-Montreal game?
In the Toronto-Montreal game, exactly. I think we could see some goals in that one. The Rangers-Pittsburgh is tough. I mean, the Rangers on paper -143. I don't mind that number.
That number, right? I think in the mid, like come December, that's -180. But it's early in the season. I'm looking at Pittsburgh's lineup here. Like Sidney Crosby centering their top line tonight with Anthony Beauvillier and Drew O'Connor. Malkins with Ricard Raquel and Michael Bunting. Rutger McGroarty, who you mentioned, gets to start his career opposite Jesse Puljujarvi on the third line. Love to see it. Lars Eller in the middle there, and then Cody Glass, Kevin Hayes, and Noel Acciari. So, I mean, I do think you make a good point on. I would probably like the over in that Leafs Habs game more than the Rangers, and it's a better number. And if we go over, let me see here. So if we go over the 6.5 and then put Vegas in, that's 2 plays. It's +249. What would be the third one we throw in here, buddy? We're obviously not throwing the Jets and Oilers in here. It's different. So then we got to look at...
What about Vancouver?
Vancouver, yeah. Okay, I like that one. That makes sense. It's -192, but it gets us up to +431.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
With the boost, that's going to be basically right where our winner was yesterday.
Very close.
Around the +476 or so.
We continue to roll. Hopefully. All right, Jake, if you're watching, let's go over 6.5 in the Leafs-Habs game. Golden Knights to win at home. Canucks to win at home. -109, -192. And that should end up being a pretty good number. Now, that one you will find on the combo cards a little bit later on. The combo cards you will find at the top of Coolbet. When you log in, you'll see them pop up. And then our exclusives, anything same game-ish, ends up in the exclusives. And you find those in the tab on the left.
You want to get to this baseball?
We should probably get to baseball. Yeah.
Put together another baseball banger. Here's the starting pitchers for today in the majors. Now we'll keep the Detroit-Cleveland game away. It's just too early. We want to give people a chance to jump on this. But that one's a pick 'em I'm looking at. Or I guess, what do we have? Well, Tigers -111, Guardians -105. Phillies and Mets. Suarez versus Quintana. Suarez was amazing the first half of the year. He came back. He's been like 6+ earlier. Quintana for the Met. What's the total on this game?
Is it 7.5? What is it at?
7.5. I do like the over in that game. I think this could very well be a bullpen game. I've got a hard time going against the Mets, though. I mean, with the run that they're on right now. Philly, they
well, we talked about it before the playoffs began, man. Philly was a 500 team since the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Right? And that's, yeah. I mean, what's crazy here is I'm going to sit here today and just go, you know what we should do? We should run it back with the Mets and Padres. It's already hit twice. If you like the Mets tonight, the Dodgers, I think, are basically throwing like the bullpen game. Like their rotation is so banged up right now. I believe last night after the game, their manager said that they're looking basically run out a few guys here and there throughout that game, and the Padres are just.
Dylan Cease is going, and it's undecided.
Yeah, like I don't know how you don't get on the Padres in this one.
Now, can I interest you in the Kansas City Royals with Seth Lugo?
I knew you were going to do that, you sly dog.
Well, I mean, listen, Lugo has been awesome. He's got a 2 ERA in the playoffs. He has been one of the best stories pitching-wise this year. You look at, he went in the Orioles game last week. He went 4 1/3, 5 hits, gave up 1 homer. That was it. Struck out 6. The other side of things for the Yankees, they are throwing out Clark Schmidt, who actually has looked quite good. His last few starts, what did he do? He pitched at the end of September against Pittsburgh. He went 4 innings, gave up 4 earned runs, but had a couple real nice starts in losing causes earlier. One thing, he wasn't getting a lot of run support in those other games. Listen, the Yankees are still the Yankees, but there's a little bit of magic right now with the Royals coming in on the playoffs. And when you look at this, I mean, there's going to be a real legitimate home field advantage. And if Aaron Judge wasn't able to hit in Yankee Stadium, like the K is not as, shall we say, hitter friendly. And I think back to what the Royals did 10 years ago, it was base running, it was speed on the bases, it was solid pitching. Like their bullpen has been so good over this last little while. And that wasn't the case over the most of the season. But again, this is basically a pick 'em right now. The Yankees are -111. The Royals are -105. We'd be picking the 3 home teams.
We would be
putting Kansas City on it.
It's plus 520. I've already taken a look at it.
The other option would be to play the total. The over is 7.5. And it's juiced to -128. What was it? 7-6 in the last game. Last game was wild. They just kept on trading back deuces. But what do you think? I mean, both of the games have been over the number, and KC's at home. I would endorse the Royals, or I would endorse the over 7.5. Your call.
Probably go 7.5. Let me throw this your way. If we moved it to just 6.5, it's still plus 370. The boost gets us up over 4-1. We buy a run just to cover our ass a little bit because we're kind of messing with the Padres and Mets parlay that's been working so well. I don't know. Are you okay bringing it down a bit, or what is it if we leave it at 7.5?
Let's see here.
Just see it. It's 370 with the 6.5. 7.5 is 466. So we're looking at like 4-1 or 5-1 essentially when it's all said and done after a boost. So
yeah, plus 466. I mean, listen, I think
I'll pick the total. I'll say we go total. You pick if we're gonna with 7.5 or 6.5. Let's do that.
I guess we could have a 4-3 game, which would go over, but let's go with what it is. We're hot right now. I don't think we need to be too conservative. We're running pretty good, and as I say, that should get us over 5-1 because it's plus 466 when we bang it in there.
Yeah, man, baseball playoffs. So I brought this up this morning on the show. Like the Tatis homer last night, they're having a great inning. He steps up, absolutely clobbers one, and I don't think anybody really came up with a legitimate answer. So let me throw this your way, Huss. Like, is there a bigger look at me moment in sports than playoff game against bitter rival, and you step up at home and jack one and then stand there and pimp it until it is out of the park? Then you bat flip. Then I just can't. And the shot from down low, like when he crushes it in the crowd, I just can't think of like anything. Like in hockey, you score an overtime winner, your team jumps on you right away. Like in baseball, you hammer that thing out and you get your 15 seconds running around. Like I don't think anything compares. I don't know how anything could compare.
This Padres team has so much swag. Like if they weren't our team and we hadn't adopted them, and if I had some sort of allegiance to the Dodgers, I would hate this team so much.
Well, you bring that up because Mac Ramallo was on our show today, and Mac Ramallo's like, I think the Padres are the most hated team in baseball. And I said, well, this is weird because they're my playoff team and I'm loving them. But you're right. I could see how that would be the case. Dodgers fans must hate the Padres.
Dude, that business of Profar, I still have not gotten over what he did when he robbed Betts of that home run, where he just kept it in his glove, started shit-talking all the fans and laughing at them. Betts is running the bases. Fox is throwing the home run graphic on the screen, and then he turns around and goes, oh, I caught that, you idiots. Like, it was unbelievable. There are some guys that I really like on that team. I'm a big Yu Darvish fan. And I do like Dylan Cease, who's getting the ball tonight. But listen, we've aligned ourselves with the Padres, 12-1. Let's see, how are our futures doing right now compared to where we started? Oh, my 30-1 on the Royals is now 8-1. I don't mind that. And the Padres, dude, are 12-1 on the Padres. They are now the favorites to win the World Series at 3-1.
We're only in the second round. We're only in the second. Now, with that being said, when you're up 2-1 on the Dodgers, and the Dodgers, I mean, that you're in a real nice spot. You get by the Dodgers, everybody thinking you're going to take this whole thing. So, hopefully, you got on it with us at 12-1. Not that it's a done deal by any stretch of imagination, but man, that feels real nice right now. That's for sure.
What I do worry about, like, do I need, because I mean, I've sort of become a Mets guy too through all of these single bets on the Mets. Is now the time to maybe get a little piece of the Mets at 5-1, thinking that we're going to have a Mets Padres NLCS, and then one way or the other have the National League team in. Like, my dream is a Royals Padres World Series where we've got a bigger bet at 12-1 on one side and a smaller bet at 30-1 on the other side and guaranteed win. I mean, if that happens, then things are really, I mean, it's just my world and we're all living in it right now. If it actually ends up being a Kansas City, San Diego series, there will be no doubt right now of where we're going. But in the meantime, let's get our Mets and Padres through to the NLC.
Take care of business.
And let's have some fun with some runs at the K tonight. And bang that one out. This has been one of the busiest lock shops I think we've ever had with the amount of things to put together.
Well, here's
Oilers playing.
The crazy thing is that we didn't even talk football today. And this is football time, right? But it's just there's too much going on right now, which is great. By the way, Big Uke texts into 780-218-9999. Also funny, Aiden O'Neill texted in and said, "Hey guys, his middle name is Ivan too." I was like, "Can you imagine if his name was actually Ivan?" There's no way. He's obviously making a hilarious joke, but Big Uke is in and says we should call it the Sports Talk Kumbaya Friendship Parlay of Togetherness.
Yeah.
I don't think they could fit that. Well, I mind you, it's not going on the combo cards. It's going in the exclusives. So technically they might be able to fit the Sports Talk Kumbaya Friendship Parlay of Togetherness. I mean,
listen,
Jake, work your magic.
We can put it to the chat. We can try it themselves. We all know who the greatest namer of parlays is around. And it's Jake Bolin Moss. I mean, when you think about some of the names we get in the exclusives, I'm fully confident that Jake will be able to come up with the name for our tag team friendship parlay, where hopefully everybody wins tonight in this Oilers-Jets game. The first of 3 matchups all season long.
So all the parlays are already up. Jake just said, he goes, they're all there. I could not fit that. The bookies would kill me. So it's the Lock Shop Partner Parlay, and then it's a West like WEST type of thing, West Harmony, which makes sense. Gabe, but you know what? For me, it'll always be known as the Sports Talk Kumbaya Friendship Parlay of Togetherness. Velarde, Arvidsson, Morrissey, Bouchard, all with a point, plus 650. D-Gen Den Parlay is up. Matthews, 4 shots. Caulfield, 3 shots. Fox, 2 shots. McKinnon, 2+ points. And Besser with a point, plus 850. And then obviously the EST and the WST parlays are up. And if you look at the combo cards, you'll find a few more goodies for you up there as well. I'm gonna need some time this afternoon to figure out exactly where I'm going on this board tonight, because there is a lot. Lock Shop
I know where I'm going.
Lock Shop Triple Play is up. Plus 537. So a nice boost there.
Oh, yes.
And the hockey's at plus 555. Sprinkle it all responsibly, of course.
It's beautiful. Well, listen, I mean, we were playing with so much house money considering the winners of the last, few weeks. And even in a 2-2 week for my best bets, I did have, like, of all the games that I played, I mean, I added in Houston. I had Miami. So there was a bunch of single game winners. And then, of course, that D-Gen Den 15-1 banger, which included the Atletico Bilbao, both teams to score from the Spanish Soccer League. I still can't believe that was the thing that I needed to check to catch that one. One of my favorites of the year. So we've got the scratch. We're rolling with it. Partner parlay again. We're going over in the Habs Leafs, over 6.5 in regulation. We are going Canucks money line, Vegas Golden Knights money line. And then the triple play is Mets, Padres, and over 7.5 in Royals Yankees.
What's coming up on Winnipeg Sports Talk today, buddy?
Well, we got a banger coming up. Actually, I'm going to be very busy coming out of the Lock Shop next couple hours. WST, Drop the Puck, Jets Oilers tonight. Mike McIntyre from Edmonton, Craig Button as well in the upcoming season. We'll hear from Nikolai Ehlers, and hopefully later on hear from head coach Scott Arniel post the morning skate. And then CFL 110. We can't forget about the CFL. Coming down the stretch, Bombers looking to clinch the West Final this week against the Argos. Jeff Hamilton and I right after Winnipeg Sports Talk for an hour. And then as soon as that is done, I'll be jumping back from another link provided by EST to sit down with Reed Wilkins and the glue guy to talk Jets Oilers tonight before the late puck drop.
You love to see it. You love to see it. Enjoy the game tonight, buddy. We will be breaking it down one way or the other tomorrow.
Can't wait. Can't wait, fellas. Good luck, everyone. Here's to a great season.
It's going to be outstanding. We have the oil stream coming up next right here as we continue to get you set for the Oilers and the Winnipeg Jets tonight. Tommy Gazzola will be joining us. He's been down at the rink all morning. He'll have your GCL Diesel pregame show tonight at 7 o'clock right here on EST. Oil stream coming up next. If you're on YouTube, turn on autoplay. Take you right over. Tune in, iHeart, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Stick around. We're going to be setting up this game for 60 minutes next.